You can have an abundant mindset and have little things materialistically, and you can have a lot of things materialistically and have a scarce mindset. So what we're going to learn today, we're going to learn how to move out of having a scarcity mindset into having an abundant mindset. I'm Derek Grant, and welcome to DG Mindset. Before we get started, make sure you hit like, make sure you hit that little bell at the top so you know when we come out with some new content to help you along your journey, you'll be notified. Now, people come up to me all the time. They always ask me, how do I develop an abundant mindset? What do I have to do to make more money? Or I want to have this, or I want to do that. The first thing we have to understand with having an abundant mindset is that abundance has nothing to do with what you acquire in what you have in the material world. People think, oh, if I have a nice car and a big house and a lot of money, now I'm abundant. No, it has nothing to do with it. You can have an abundant mindset and have little things materialistically, and you can have a lot of things materialistically and have a scarce mindset. So what we're going to learn today, we're going to learn how to move out of having a scarcity mindset into having an abundant mindset. And here's the good thing. You're already naturally wired when you come out of your mother's womb to have an abundant mindset. A child doesn't come out looking for lack. It is usually learned. So we're going to get back to the root of what you actually are. First thing we have to understand is you have to understand how this thing called the ego works, right? So there's a couple principles to understand with the ego. Number one, the ego operates in duality, right? So what that means is this or that, up or down, good or bad, right or wrong. It operates in duality. And the moment that we introduce two, which is dual, we just created separation between the two. So here's the other part of it, of what the ego does to create this separation between abundance and scarcity. It operates in survival. So when you're suffering and things are quote unquote going bad, the ego's looking at it saying, well, at least we're alive, because its whole job is to survive. So part of moving from a scarcity mindset to an abundant mindset, you're going to have to move out of survival into thrival mode. You're not going to be living in survival anymore. We're going to break down really how you do that. Lastly, the ego has to be better or worse than someone else. So we have to understand these three attributes of the ego. We have to understand that it operates in duality, it operates in survival, and it has to be better or worse than someone else. Why are we talking about the ego? I thought we were talking about abundance. Because the ego is the unconscious part of your mind. If you're not living with an abundant mindset, it's because you are living through the unconscious scarce mindset of the ego. So this is why it's so important for you to understand how the ego actually operates. Now, what does abundance look like? Abundance is the recognition that you have everything that is needed right now. You don't have enough for tomorrow. You probably didn't have enough for yesterday, but wherever you are right now in life, you have enough for right now. And here's why. Because the only thing that exists is now. I want you to go ahead and write that down. The only thing that exists right now is now. So when you know this, whatever your life looks like, in this moment where your feet are, it could not be any other way than it is right now. Your job is to accept that. This is step one of moving into an abundance mindset. It's coming back to the present moment and recognizing and accepting everything just as it is. See, the ego operates in the future or the past. It does not operate in the present moment. Remember, it operates through a state of unawareness. So when we are operating in the future and our mind's stuck in the past, unconsciously, this is our ego. But because we're stuck in the future or we're stuck in the past, we're not actually present. So we're not seeing the abundance that exists right now. So if you look at nature, nature is abundant. When something is taken away, something always replaces it. When resources start to diminish, other things cultivate and develop to replace those diminishing resources. The same happens in your life, but because we have a scarce mindset, we don't see it. So a lot of times we're scared or afraid to maybe pay a bill or we have to spend money, not realizing that that money is a form of energy. Anytime that we are giving and putting out, this universe operates through balance and harmony. If something's going out, something's going to have to be coming in. And it doesn't have to necessarily be in the form of money. It could be in the form of resources or time or maybe a favor. But when you start to recognize that anything that is going out is always replaced by an energy that's coming in, your job is to have an abundant mindset to be able to see when it is happening. So, first step in developing an abundant mindset, we have to be able to see what exists now. Okay? What exists in your life now? You could look at what you have or you could look at what you don't have. We could look at the glass as being half empty or we could look at the glass as being half full. This is the difference between a scarce mindset and an abundant mindset. It's a choice. It is a perspective. So this is why I'm telling you, you already have the capabilities, you have the tools to be abundant. You're already abundant as long as you can make the choice to see the abundance in your life. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to write down all the things that you have, whether it's time, whether it's your health, whether it's family, whether it's love, whether it's a roof over your head, whether it's heat, whatever it is, write down what you do have. This is step one of us cultivating and developing an abundant mindset. You could spend the same amount of energy in looking at what you don't have. You could spend that same amount of energy in looking and seeing what you do have. That's a choice that we have to make. Number two, developing an abundant mindset requires presence. Okay? You're going to have to ground yourself daily. You're going to have the awareness of when you're stuck or afraid of the future or still dwelling off regret or shame or guilt from the past. Start to realize, I'm afraid of doing X, Y, and Z. Oh, that's my mind being in the future. I need to come back to now. If I can come back to now, I'll realize that whatever was needed right now, if I don't have it, that means I actually didn't need it. Because where I am right now is the only place that life exists. And things are exactly as they should be. See, our minds were blessed with this capability, this faculty of what we call the imagination. And the imagination can conjure up the future. So now we have a fear of what could happen. But the reality of it is, the only thing that is happening is now. So having presence and being able to ground yourself and come back to now is key in developing an abundant mindset. Next, number three. When developing or cultivating an abundance mindset, you're going to have clarity. Clarity on your journey to the destination. You're going to have clarity. I want you to remember this. Clarity is power. When you know where you want to go, when you know where the destination is, it's so much easier for you to start to see whether or not you're operating in an abundant mindset or scarce mindset. I'm going to show you how a scarce mindset shows up in your life. Do you ever have a goal or a vision? You're top of the mountain, what you want to get to, whether it's a financial goal, whether it's you want to lose weight, whatever it is. And the first question you ask yourself is how. The moment that you ask yourself how, you're literally creating a block in between you and that version of you that you're looking to become so you can accomplish that goal. Anytime that we're looking at how things are going to go wrong or how things won't work, that is the opposite of abundance. Abundance only sees how things are going to work. So this is a mental shift. This is you being intentional, but we can't be intentional if we don't have clarity on where it is that we want to go. It'd be like this. Imagine you get in your car and I say, meet me there. And you're like, well, where's there? And I'm like, I don't know, just meet me there. And you just start driving around aimlessly and you don't know where you're going. And then all of a sudden, maybe a road's closed and then there's a detour and you're like, where am I going? I don't know where I'm going. And you'll start freaking out and starting to like create anxiety in your mind because there's no destination. There's no end point. You don't know if you're getting further or closer to your goal. Whereas if I gave you a specific address, if I gave you a destination, now you can measure whether or not you're moving closer or further away from where you wanted to go. So I say that because you have to look at your life and make the choice and see what you do have instead of looking at what you don't have. Make the choice to see what's possible instead of looking at how hard it's going to be. Make the choice and say, I may not be where I want to be right now, but you know what? At least I'm not where I was. This is an abundant mindset. It's easy to look at how much money you don't have. It's easy to look at the fact that your house isn't as big as maybe you wanted to be. It's easy to look at your relationship and be like, oh, well, they don't do this and they don't do that. That's easy. That's the lazy way out. Instead, make the choice to do what's more difficult, to do what's more challenging, to start to see everything that is in your life and how it is helping you along your journey, no matter how small it may be. And here's the beauty of it, just like anything else. The more you practice this, the more intentional you are, the easier to become. And now, your way of life will be abundant. And you'll start to see the smallest miracles and blessings that show up in your life. No matter how small it was. Maybe the sun came out. Wow, I'm grateful that I can feel the heat from the sun, that I can actually see it. And now you start to move into the energy of gratitude. And when you have an energy of gratitude, there's no limit to your altitude. So for everybody here, having an abundant mindset is a choice. And here's the beauty of it. When you have an abundant mindset, you're not going to operate in places of scarcity and being the victim. If you feel like you're the victim and everybody's against you and you can't figure this out and this is hard and everybody, you're never going to be able to see the abundance that exists in your life. So we're going to kill two birds with one stone. Making the conscious choice here in 2025 and beyond to live from a state of abundance, you're no longer now allowed to be the victim. And if you're no longer allowed to be the victim, that means you're being accountable. And if you are being accountable now, you can start to design your life the way you desire. And that's ultimately what you were here to do. Figure out where you want to go, figure out who you want to be, and give yourself full permission to be it. You have every resource that's needed within you to create that version of you that you're looking to become. If this video resonated with you, please make sure you like and share this with at least 2 people. You know, here at DG Mindset, we are here to help you along your journey, to be your coach. We're your favorites coach's coach. Keep going and keep developing that abundant mindset, and we'll see you next time.